Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I gotta tell you, I debated even recording, Minnie, no you can't right now. I debated even recording this layout because there's nothing I'm doing here that is something that you guys haven't already seen me do. And then I remember that so many of you come back for the stories and come back to hang out with me. I think more or almost as much as you come back for the actual process and what I'm actually doing. So I turned on the camera anyway, and we are recording. I'm gonna kind of cheat and call this a storybook process, but actually what this is this is gonna be an insert in my monthly project life. I said in my chit chat video that I'm working in 9x12 this year, but there are some stories that need to be included, whether they get included in my storybook album or as an insert in my 9x12 project life. And the story that I'm telling, I thought made more sense as an insert than as a storybook in my storybook album, also because I didn't know what word or frame of reference I would use to tell this, and this is a January story. So I am using the digital Stories by the Month kit from Ali Edwards for January 2020 to tell this story, and I thought I had everything I needed, and I don't have my foam, so I'm looking for that. Okay, now I have everything I needed. So like I said, so many of you come back to just kind of hang out with me and to get, I don't want to say updates on what my life looks like, but I mean, I feel like that's what it is. So here's the story. Oh, I'm already doing this wrong, you guys. Focus. Let me cut this and then I'll start talking, because the last thing I want to do is cut this the wrong way, because my printer is starting to give me the "you're out of ink" notification, and I don't know if I have enough ink in my printer to reprint this photo. So the story I'm documenting today is of one of my really good friends moving back to Texas. My good friend Solmaz moved to her story is just wild. She moved to New York for nursing school with her fiance, and in the last 2 years they've gotten married, and now it is time for them to go back to Texas, which is where she's from. And she took a little bit of my heart with her. She took a huge piece of my heart with her. My classes said for a long time that Soli was the glue that held us together. Soli was the one, Solmaz, we call her the social chair of our class, because she was the one who organized all the happy hours and all the celebrations after finals and after every exam. And like, I really love that girl. Like, I'm not joking. My nursing school friendships, I think, are going to be lifelong friendships, and Soli is definitely one of the most amazing people I've met in a very long time. That's her right in the middle. And when she left, she took a piece of me with her, and I'm okay with admitting that I'm okay with admitting that I'm a baby, and I cried the whole time. And here's the thing: we all knew she was leaving, but when it was like we were counting down the days, and she left a few days ago, and now I'm like telling the story. So here's what I'm scrapping. I have 2 photos. This is a photo we surprised her. So these are all kids from my kids. We're all adults, but these are all people from my nursing class. We surprised her and took her out for drinks. So what we did was we had this like nursing workshop at our school that was supposed to be preparing us for the NCLEX, and really the entire time we were there, we were plotting how we were going to escape, because there's only so much information you can feed us after we've been studying for years. We don't want to study for the NCLEX yet, but it was a workshop that our school was offering, and they were just like, take advantage of this. This is going to be really, wow, making messes already. They were like, take advantage of this. This is going to be really helpful for you for test prep. So we all went, even though we didn't really want to. I'm just trying to make sure that I do this correctly the first time. So what I'm doing, and then I'll go back to telling you the story, I am making, you guys are not going to be surprised at all, but I'm making a flip because I like having bigger photos. And until I get my large format printer, this is going to be the way I get larger photos in my album, which is just printing them on 6x8. And then cutting them in half and resizing them and making things work. So this photo is 10x8, and then this was supposed to be a 6x8.25 photo, and I screwed up the sizing of it while I was printing it out. So I'm just putting a piece of blue cardstock on the bottom of the photo to make it look like I did that on purpose. It is just me cheating and covering up the mistake I made. So this photo, I'm telling you the story from the first photo. I got distracted. So what we did was we had one of our friends like tell her that she was gonna take her out, kind of like to hang out before she was leaving. And then we all left the workshop like the slackers that we are. Like literally we're supposed to be prepping for NCLEX and we're escaping so we can have drinks. So we all left the workshop and like hiked all the way to Queens to surprise her. So we got to the restaurant before she did. And then when she got there, we were all like, hey, surprise. And she cried. And then I cried because I'm a crybaby. It doesn't take much to make me cry. And people say I'm a sympathetic crier. If people are crying around me, I'm going to start crying. So that was this photo. This was outside the restaurant after we had all had a few drinks and we were just talking and reminiscing and like promising that we wouldn't we wouldn't abandon each other. And then this photo was at her official goodbye party. So this one was planned because this was with her friends and her husband's friends. Sorry, silly watch. So this was with her friends and her husband's friends. So this was the planned goodbye party. And so it's a similar group of people because when you find your group of people, you tend to just hold on to them and not let them go. So similar group of people, but this was at the official goodbye party. So these are the photos that I'm scrapping. And what I did was so since this is the digital kit, first of all, digitals, I'm all about digitals because I said this in one of my videos recently. When it comes to using like 3x4 and 4x6 cards, I'm not very good at putting things in pockets. I'm not a pocket scrapper. So I struggle with I'm just like turning things around over and over while I assemble. I struggle with using the more pocket style cards just because I'm not a pocket scrapbooker. So digitals are so easy for me because I can take like a 3x4 card and I can repeat the pattern, or I can size it up to 6x8, and then that is a much more comfortable size for me to work in. So the digital kits, I'm all about it. The only downside to digital kits is there aren't physical embellishments, but as you can see, I am not starving for physical embellishments. I have plenty of stuff to use. So here's what I did. This was a 3x4 card that I repeated, and then this January Stories was a digital stamp that I colored. I was really inspired. Let me go back to the beginning. Here's what inspired me. This was a 3x4 card, and I loved this blue, and I love this tiny little yellow plus sign, Celebrate and Enjoy. And that's what like literally drove the whole color scheme for this entire layout, was this card with the blue and the yellow. So I use the eyedropper tool in Photoshop to pick up this yellow. This is not yellow, this is blue. I used the eyedropper tool in Photoshop to pick up this blue and recolored this stamp, and then I added a tiny drop shadow because this is a January story, and like I said, this is gonna be an insert in my monthly Project Life album for January. And then what I did on this page, I repeated the blue down here, and since the yellow is going to be peeking out, this is where the holes are going to be punched when it goes into my 9x12 album. This stamp says Gratitude and Hope. I'm not sure how well it picks up on camera, but I first colored one this same yellow. Like I used the eyedropper tool and picked up this yellow to color this, and then I turned the opacity down to 25, so it was like really, really sheer. I'm not sure how much that's coming through on camera, but you'll see pictures later. Also, look at my nail. Like, I'm horrible and these need to get done desperately. I have an appointment this week because these are horrifying. And then I took the same stamp and colored it white and layered it over top the yellow. So there's two hearts layered. And what I want to do, which I'm going to do right now, is go into my heart embellishment box and see if I have anything that I could lay over the top. I'm sure I have. Let's go. Bring on the Adventures. Oh, I love that. Okay, so I'm gonna put that Bring on the Adventures, and I'm just repeating those hearts. If you haven't seen, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I did this thing I don't want to cover up the stamp too much, but also, oh, no, get off. Uh-oh. Hold on, because I just fell on Soli's head. Okay, what I was saying is I don't want to cover the stamps too much, because I still want you to be able to see the stamps, but I kind of want this centered. Perfect. So there we go. So I layered that black Bring on the Adventures over the two hearts. I kind of broke that chip war, so I got to put it back together. I think that looks, oh, that looks super cute. That layered heart over the two hearts. Okay, here we go. And what I did was I went through a lot of my embellishments from Ally and like sorted them by shape. So like all my circles and half circles, my banners are in here. I have hearts and stars, and then like flags and arrows and everything else are in here, in the hopes that'll get me to use it up. And then the more complete sheets, the ones that I haven't even touched, I left together because it doesn't make any sense to pop stuff out. Actually, I'm gonna pull these out because those colors match perfectly. I didn't think it made sense to pop out a whole sheet that I haven't touched yet. So here we go. So here's this card. I think I'm gonna put 2 of these down there. Ooh, best surprise, because she was totally surprised, and seriously love. So I'm just gonna layer these 2 sentiments on the bottom since I have chipboard, and also to repeat the color. So I'm gonna put this yellow one on the blue, and then I'm gonna take this teal one and put, and I think this was from the surprise story kit, this chipboard sheet. I actually wasn't subscribed yet when this came out, but I just, Ally does like a Stories Revisited sale every year, and that's the perfect time to stock up on items that you may have missed if you weren't subscribed. So that's what this looks like, and I think that's done. I'm just gonna put something down here, and I'm gonna go in and see which one of these really long, come on, which one of these really long ones, through the lens our stories become visible, be in love with your life every minute of it. That's, or this has my heart. Well, I like this has my heart, but the coloring isn't just, the coloring isn't right because it's pink. So I'm gonna go with this one, be in love with your life every minute of it. And I'm gonna grab another heart just because just because we're using hearts on this one. Can I use this white heart? No, I think that's too, I think there's too much. That'd be too much white. I'm gonna use one of these small heart chipboard stickers. There's a teal one. So I'm just gonna grab one of these small teal chipboard hearts and put that along the bottom of this inset. And you guys won't see how this looks completely until I do my January Project Life, which I'm not gonna do till the end of January because I don't know what stories I'll be telling because there's so much happening this month. But again, this is just an insert because it is a complete story and one that I can tell. There we go. Perfect. So that's how that looks like. I have the hearts, the gratitude and hope with the bring on the adventures, some chipboard, this, and then I have this. I think that looks super good. Okay, so that's the insert done. And then I'm just gonna work on the side that actually has my story. So like I said, this was a 3x4 card. And then same thing, I took the ink dropper tool and I used it to color this stamp that says January looks like this. And I added my journaling. And when I sized it so it would sit perfectly on top of that Celebrate and Enjoy banner. And I think I might put another one of these to repeat the yellow. Best moment, Crazy Good. Crazy Good, I like that one. And I might just put another teal heart just to repeat. So if this is your first time scrapbooking me, you're not scrapping me, you're scrapping with me. I like to repeat shapes and elements and colors in my spreads. I feel like that helps to tie, I feel like that helps to tie a whole, if you're doing like a multi-page spread like I'm normally doing, if you're doing like one 6x8 or a 9x12, then it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing things like that are multiple pages, I think it helps to carry themes over. So now we have this yellow and this blue with this yellow and the blue, and we have the heart, and then when you open it up, you have the yellow and the blue and the heart. And I think that helps to carry a theme across a multi-page spread. So now all I'm going to do is make a pocket, because I have this picture of Soli and I on the official goodbye party, and I'm going to put it behind this so that it comes out. So my journaling is sized, I think, if I remember correctly, it is sized 5x6. I'm pretty sure it's sized 5x6. And if it's not sized exactly 5x6, it's pretty close to 5x6. So the photo is a 4x6 photo. So all I need to do is put 2 rows of foam tape on either side. And this is going to create a pocket for my photo. And this is the easiest way to create pockets for things, you guys. Just use foam strips. You don't have to like put, hold on, I can't like work and talk. Foam strips are the easiest way to create pockets for things. It's a little narrow. I gotta move one of these strips over. Hopefully I can move it over without like ripping things and ruining things. Oh, never mind, that's staying there. All right, so what I'm gonna do is end up trim. I'm just gonna trim my photo a little bit because it's easier to trim the photo than to pick up those foam strips and make a mess. So I'm just gonna trim a photo. But foam strips are the easiest way. See, there we go. That's gonna sit right in there. Foam strips are the easiest way to make pockets, you guys. If this is something that you wanna do, I highly recommend these Darice foam strips. I will put a link to them in the description box. I'm trying to get better at linking to supplies in the description box. That's not something I'm used to doing. So I'm trying to get better because I'm sure you guys are curious what I'm using. I get emails and like DMs like, can you please tell me where you got such and such? And it would just be so much easier if I would link to the supplies I'm using. So I'm trying to get better at doing that. Okay, so here we go. I just use these skinny Darice foam strips. These things are a lifesaver. I love these foam strips. I go through like packs of them on a regular basis. I think I go through foam strips almost as fast as I go through tape. And I go through tape really fast. If you couldn't tell by how much tape I've already used on this single page, okay? And now I'm actually gonna stick it down the other way because I already have that chipboard at the bottom and that's not gonna really let this stick down straight. So I'm going to kind of center it. I want to center it and make sure it's straight and also make sure that it's not covering my heart at the bottom. So I'm just, tweaking it and okay. This is going to take me a minute, sorry. I just want to make sure that this is, never mind. I think it would be easier to do it the other way because now I'm just making my life difficult. So we're just kind of we're gonna go for it. I'm not gonna use the T-square, we're just gonna go for it and hope that I put it down. Okay, I don't think it's perfectly straight. It's pretty close. It's definitely not centered. Like it's definitely more skewed one way than the other, but it's pretty close to straight. And then this photo of Soul and I just sits right in here. And it goes down, I probably should have put another bit of foam because it goes down a little too far. But the other thing I can do is just never mind, I'm just gonna make a tag for it using some trim. And I'll use this teal trim. Since there's already so much yellow on this page, I'm just gonna use a bit of teal ribbon to make a tag for it. That way I remember to pull it out because otherwise I won't remember to pull it out and it'll get lost. It'll get lost in the shuffle. And this is my favorite way to make tags. Just take a little bit of ribbon, fold it in half and staple it down. And then I want to put something here. So I'm going to go to the sentiment box. I think I saw a yellow one that said happy. Oh, I do see a yellow one that says happy. This was from the, I can tell this was from the type story kit because all of the text on it is a little wonky. That's how I can tell. All right. So I'm just going to put this down that says happy. Perfect. Okay. And that goes right in there with the little banner. So I know there's something in there. And that's this story told, you guys. That completes the layout. So I have my blue and my yellow repeating. I have my January stamp. I have this big card. I have the stamps. And then when this opens up, I have my January stories and the big photo of my friends and I. And again, this is going to get slipped right in as an insert in my January Project Life album. January Project Life. Yeah, my January Project Life because I'm doing Project Life monthly in 2020. So, now that the layout's done, I'm just going to quickly read you my journaling. I'm actually really happy with this. It's kind of, so I took this January looks like this as a prompt. And here's what it says. It says, January feels. January looks like everyone looking ahead to what comes next and me still looking behind, stuck in this loop of wow, it's over, and wow, why is it over, and wow, what do I do next, and wow, am I ever going to see them again? January looks like endless parties, happy hour after happy hour, cheers on repeat, one endless boomerang of clinking beer glasses and smiles all around. January looks like trying to remind myself that goodbyes aren't actually goodbyes and are more like see you laters. Trying to make farewells fond instead of heart-wrenching. Trying to see the good in what's coming next instead of dwelling on what is behind me. January looks like reminding myself that I haven't actually lost Solmaz. That her moving away is just a big and necessary step for her and Nils's growth, and that just because she's going back to Texas doesn't mean that the bond we built over these last 2 years will be stretched until it is fraying and broken, and that there is always planes and trains and buses to bring us back together. January looks like barbecue brunches with lemonades and macaroni and cheese and smoked meat stacked higher than my stomach can see, and sausages of every kind and pretzels bigger than our heads and more varieties of mustard than I've ever seen before, and more cider than my stomach and my liver can handle. And stumbling home into his arms, him fondly shaking his head at my antics, me holding him close because it feels like everything is slipping right out of my hands. January looks like everything is slipping right out of my hands, like the change that I want and the change that I don't, like growth and expansion and moving onward and upward, like setting goals with this crazy group of people, like planning study sessions because it's actually not over, but like reminding myself why I call this group of people home in the first place. January looks like grabbing all of the friends I've made and holding them closer than close, like hugs after hugs after hugs, like tearful partings and smiles in spite of sorrow, like celebrating, like joy, like joy, like joy. So that's it, you guys. Here is my layout using the digital story by the month kit for Ali Edwards. I hope you enjoyed this page. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me, and I hope you learned something today. Please give me a thumbs up. Please comment. Please consider subscribing so you can hang out with me and the Precisely Tashi family that we're bringing together. And until next time, keep it crafty, friends, and have the next day. Wow, I can't even get my sign off right. Keep it crafty, friends, and have the best day, and I will see you at the next page. Bye!